Hi, I'm Bonita Sussman.
Hello.
And I'm sitting here with Jonatas, who is a spokesperson for Crypto Jews.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask him some questions. He spent Shabbat with me on Staten
It was
Island.
incredible.
Thank you. We thought so also. And it is January 2017.
Yes.
And we are discussing Crypto Jews. And I'd like to ask Jonatas?
Sure.
The different names that we refer to crypto Jews, please
Sure.
explain them and
Okay.
say what they are. Okay.
Okay, so Bonnie, that's a matter of a big confusion, right? Because you have crypto Jews, which simply means hidden Jews. So when you say hidden Jews, that can apply to many different communities. We have Ashkenazi crypto Jews. From the times of the Holocaust, many had to go into hiding. They never came out of hiding. Some even forgot that they're Jews. So crypto Jews simply means hidden Jews. You have then the word of Anusim. These are the forced ones. So that first, second generation that they had been forcibly converted away from Judaism into Catholicism. Those are the Anusim. The children of these people, these individuals, are the Bnei Anusim. And that is a status that remains perpetual. So to this day, people who descend from those who were forcibly converted into Catholicism, they're still called Bnei Anusim. So the global community in Spain, Portugal, Latin America, Southwest USA, that finds out that they're descendants of crypto Jews, they can also be called Bnei Anusim. You have the word converso. Converso is more of an academic word to talk about the crypto Jews. You can say descendants of conversos. It's the same thing as the same descendants of crypto Jews or Bnei Anusim. Then you have the word, let's say, Marranos, which is a pejorative term. It's a term that the anti-Semite used to call the Jews, which has a connotation with swine, with pigs. So anybody who says Marranos, they are in a way offending those Jews. That is because in Spanish the word Marrano really means pigs. For the Portuguese crypto Jewish community, they don't have such a problem with the word Marranos because there is no translation of the word Marrano into Portuguese. So a lot of Portuguese Jews are okay with being called Marranos or descendants of Marranos. Some people even have pride in that because it shows how strong they are as Jews, who stayed Jewish regardless of all the persecutions for so long. And then you have, there are many other words to be honest with you, but those are the main ones.
I know it's always been problematic of how to refer, and I've sometimes been criticized when I use the word Marrano, but when I was at the international conference for Anusim and descendants of Anusim, I heard people call themselves Marranos.
Yes, it's not a
so
problem.
that I figure maybe it's not so.
Yes.
Okay, so that's question number one. Question number two I'd like to ask you is when you spoke about your life and your travels back to Judaism and your adventure and your art that's related to creating your identity and how that and the many different hoops you needed to jump through
you have to.
In order to get
so many.
Right, in order to get a conversion certificate and a return certificate at the same time, which that's pretty unique to get both.
Yes.
That's
shouldn't be that hard, but it is. Yes.
But it is that hard. You mentioned that there are groups in Brazil that are in remote places.
Sure.
Could you talk something about these groups?
Yes. So the best places to find crypto Jews is really small cities. And in Brazil, if you go to the backlands of Brazil, these are cities that one doesn't understand how it can even exist because it's not because there is a lot of good resources, natural resources or jobs. These are a few families who decided to move there hundreds of years ago. And they're very remote. They have their own farming communities. They're rural based, and and that those are the places where you find in the behind the mountains or behind a certain desert, if there are families there that go back to the first settlers of an area, usually you can find Anusim and Bnei Anusim in those areas. Not only in Brazil, also here in the Southwest USA, all over South America, and even some places in the Iberian Peninsula. Like in Portugal, you found people in Trás-os-Montes and in Belmonte. These are areas that are very isolated, and that's where you find them. The more authentic ones that kept a lot of the traditions of their forefathers and mothers, that's where they are. Which opens our eyes to another problem. How long will these families stay in small cities in the age of globalization? Not that long, because everybody understands that resources are scarce. Younger people are looking for jobs, so they leave small cities and they want to go to the big cosmopolitan areas to branch out, to do better financially and find opportunities. So a lot of these individuals are going into the bigger cities or even migrating away from that country. And then with that, they leave behind any trace of their crypto-Jewish past.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's risky.
So in certain places, it's like a fading community that have preserved crypto-Jewish traditions,
yes,
which are many,
yes, many,
for many years.
Yes.
And as you, I believe, said, some don't even have an awareness of their crypto-Jewish past.
Exactly.
And what I found interesting, it was like communities in Africa that came from the villages into the cities because of famine and starvation and opportunity and all things like that. And they began to lose their tribal understanding, language, and knowledge once they came in. So this is a tragedy that we're losing at a rapid pace. Crypto-Jewish communities in Brazil.
Yes.
So that was very interesting. I thank you so much. You were a fabulous speaker. And your art is magnificent. And I would say that everybody should look up Jonatas on his website, Jonatas. And Kulanu thanks you and is very proud that you're one of our scholars in residence. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.